Last weekend, we were in Edinburgh to drop our eldest daughter, Celine, who attends university there. I have to say, I love going to Edinburgh. It's such a cultural city and it's so beautiful and so nice to walk around. Celine going back to university got me thinking about how my husband and I went about choosing what we thought was the right secondary school for her and our younger daughter, Sophie. Hi, my name is Cindy Tan, and if you're a mom or a dad wondering how to choose a secondary school, in this video I will share 10 tips on what to look for or what we did when choosing a secondary school. If you find this video useful, don't forget to click on the thumbs up button below this video. It just helps make sure that more people are reached with this message. Now, there are three types of schools in the UK. So the first type is schools which are paid for by the government and are run by local authorities. So for example, comprehensive schools, schools which anyone can go to. And then you've got the faith schools, schools which have a focus on a particular religion, and grammar schools, schools which select their students using the 11 plus exams. The 11 plus exams are exams which kids sit at the age of 10 or 11. So the second type are schools which are paid for by the government but are run by an independent body such as a charity or a business, a university, or maybe a group of parents or teachers or an academy trust. So for example, of this is academy schools and free schools. So these are schools that are paid for by the government but are allowed more freedom over their own curriculum. They control their own admissions criteria and they don't have to follow the national curriculum, although they do have to provide a broad and balanced curriculum. Schools which are privately funded by parents is the third type. So for example, independent or private schools or public schools, they are known. Independent schools have much more freedom than state schools. They are free to set their own curriculums and they also tend to specialize in one area. So some may focus on academic success and discipline, whereas you've got others who might be more technologically minded and less formal. Each independent school is different, so it's best to talk with one before sending your child there. Now that we have established the types of schools that are available here in the UK, let us start. So my 10 tips are as follows. The first one is to evaluate and understand your child. So as your child will be the one attending secondary school, it is important that you choose a school that will serve your child best. Sending your son or your daughter to the secondary school down the road may work in some instances, but definitely not in all. The key to choosing the best school for your child lies first in understanding your child's specific needs. So is your child highly academic, in which case you might want to consider highly academic selective schools. Or if your child is a highly flourishing musician, you might want to consider schools that offer impressive drama and music departments. Attend open days or open evening is the second thing that you should consider. Once you have decided on the type of school that you want for your child, you might want to consider choosing about 3 or 4 schools that you think are suitable and take the time to go to the open days with your child to have a look around. If the schools that you like are popular and are likely to be oversubscribed, I mean, let's be honest, popular schools are likely to be oversubscribed, it would be a good idea to have a wild card. So with our daughters, we visited 5 schools, 3 grammar schools and 2 private schools. What was interesting to me was how our opinion of some of the schools changed when we attended the open days. So for example, there was a school that I wasn't sure about. Even after reading the brochures, we were not sure about the school. But upon attending the open day and speaking to the student that took us around and speaking to the deputy head, the school impressed us so much that we decided that if our daughter did not get into our top choice, that would be the school for her. So the third thing to consider is to life hack other parents. So what do I mean by this? One of the things I did when I started thinking about secondary schools for my daughters is to look around the people that I know. So I look for people with children who are happy, who are content, and who are doing well academically, because that's what I wanted for our children. And I would speak to them, ask them how they did it, what sort of schools their children went to, and what did they look for when choosing schools for their children. And if they're sitting for grammar exams, what did they do to prepare their children? So why do I do this? I believe one of the best way to get knowledge in the area that you want to be successful in is to find someone who has done it successfully and model what they do. And so that's what I did. The fourth thing to consider is single-sex school or co-educational schools. So for some parents, whether to send their children to single-sex or co-educational schools is an easy decision to make, often informed by religious or cultural convictions. But it wasn't an easy one for us because we were trying to make an objective choice. So both my husband and I were educated in single-sex schools, and while we could see the positives, like students flourishing in an environment free of gender stereotypes, we also realized that our girls need to learn to work together with boys, since that is the nature of university and employment out there in the real world. And us insulating our girls from these realities doesn't solve anything. In the end, we applied to 3 single-sex schools and 2 co-educational schools. Although they were accepted by all 5, we ended up choosing a single-sex school for them because the school was close by. It was the top grammar school, and we really liked the fact that the girl that showed us around was so confident. I mean, she just exuded such confidence. The fifth thing to consider is what does a child think? So while parents reserve the right to make the final decision, it is important to ask your child what they want from a secondary school. Our experience is you might find that your child has more motivation for study and displays fewer behavioral problems if they are happy with the choice of secondary school. But also keep in mind that kids don't always know what's best for them, and many will automatically opt for the school that their best friend is going to, regardless of whether it is the most appropriate choice for them. The sixth thing to consider is feedback from existing parents. So school websites, brochures, and open days are designed to show each school in the most positive light, but this may not always be the case in real life. So see if you can get in touch or in contact with parents whose children currently attend the school that you are interested in. Get feedback of what they think of the school. Ask questions like, what is the communication with the parents like, or if there's anything they felt the school could do better. So the seventh thing to consider is school culture. So one of the best ways to get a feel for a school's culture is to simply walk through the school corridors. You might want to consider what you expect the school to teach your child about life beyond academics, whether their goals are the same as your values, whether the school is a joyful one overall. So out of the 5 that we went to with our daughters, in 3 of the schools, we were shown around by students. I learned that you can actually learn a lot about a school from these mini tours, being shown around by the current students and talking to the current students. For me, I was looking for a school where the current students are confident, enjoy learning, kind, and generally happy to be in that school. Our girls eventually went to the school that they went to mainly because the student that showed us around ticked every box, i.e. she exuded confidence. She was kind to our daughter, patiently answered any question that Celine had, and she seemed happy to be in the school. The 8th thing to consider is siblings policy. So if it is important for you that all your children go to the same secondary school, when looking at schools, you might want to consider or you might want to check that the school has a siblings policy. So for us, although both our daughters eventually attended the same secondary school, we did not consider this when looking at secondary school for our eldest daughter, as we felt that both our daughters are quite different socially, emotionally, and also both have very different academic abilities and needs. The 9th thing to do is to start researching options early. One of the things I tell the 11 plus parents we work with is to start your research early. Give yourself plenty of time to review the options to ensure that you and your children or your child is satisfied with the final decision. And finally, trust your instinct. Parents know what is best for their child. Different parents will place different emphasis on different factors, and it's unlikely that a school will tick all your boxes. So deciding what matters most and prioritizing is important. So that's my 10 tips on what to consider when choosing secondary school. I hope you found this useful. If you like this video, don't forget to click on that little thumbs up button and be sure to subscribe to our channel for more content to help teens and young adults develop a growth mindset to education and finance. Thank you very much for listening in. My name is Cindy Tan.